Hello, my friends, and welcome to the latest spin. I'm Mike Spinner, Student Athlete World USA, coming at you. It's Thursday. Can't say it's 8 p.m. It's a little bit later than that. My apologies. I'll explain in just a second. But it's Thursday night. What else is there to do besides spend a little time with me? As always, the cellular device is on 203 518 8408. If you have any questions at all about Student Athlete World or our tours, you can text me, you can put it in the chat. What you can't do is call me, and it's actually a good segue. It was 7:59. I was preparing to entertain all of you, and my phone rang, my work phone, and it was a parent with some pretty specific questions. They're interested in one of our remaining tours, and the consummate professional that I am. What did I do? I delayed my video knowing you would all be at the edges of your seat waiting. Delayed the video, took the full phone call because that is my dedication to you, our treasured families. Now I'm a little bit late. So apologies for the delay. Hopefully you're not too disappointed, but it's great to be back as always. So from the mothership this week, one of the things that I feel like we can do a better job promoting. No knock on Tim because he's an expert at this, but I feel like there's a whole other area that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. So Tim today shared with me some swag he got for the Bucknell University tennis team. They're going to be traveling with us as a team coming up very soon. And if you are currently a college athlete, a college coach, college administrator, and you're thinking about doing an international tour for one or several of your teams, this is something we have done in the past. I know there's been a wrestling group, basketball group, now a tennis group, multiple other sports that we've done. So we don't just do the international tour for the teams that we talk about the most, youth and high school age teams. But if your entire college team is looking to do an international tour as a spring break trip, as a summer trip, as a preseason training trip, anything like that, we can set up that tour. And for more information, just send me an email, mike@studentathleteworld.com. But I'm excited for Bucknell tennis. I think it's going to be a fantastic tour. Just wait until you see the swag. It is awesome. So kudos to Bucknell tennis, and hopefully we'll have even more college teams come our way moving forward. Apologies as I butcher the English language. Other than that, same as usual around here as we steamroll towards our 2025 travel season. Don't know if you saw the social media today, but we are 100 days from the start of the United World Games. Our United World Games tour is practically full. Have a few more ice hockey spots we're looking to fill for our first ever ice hockey team. Teams, we have multiple teams going for ice hockey, which I'm really excited about. And on the boys basketball side, we do have a couple of roster spots remaining, but not many. Otherwise, we're good to go for United World Games. I can't wait to be there myself, and it all begins in 100 days. Those 100 days are going to go by real quick. So I'm excited for that. And then, the other big news from kind of the mothership, and we'll advertise it more moving forward. But if I'm not mistaken, this will be our biggest Lisboa Lacrosse Cup tour in our history. We're looking at multiple teams. I'm not giving away everything quite yet. We still have to cross the finish line, but that tour is really going to be tremendous in both numbers and in scope and in awesomeness. I think our team's going to be pretty darn good as well. So I'm real excited for that. Trust me as a lacrosse guy when I say, boy, do I wish I was going back on that tour this year. And I loved it last year. So just some real exciting stuff for us. If you are watching this and you're thinking about joining us for this year, just know when I say our roster spots are almost full, we're getting to the nitty gritty here. We still have interviews on the calendar. So if you're interested in joining us, do not hesitate to complete your application. Do not hesitate to schedule your interview because not every tour has roster spots available. And what we have left is going to fill. It's going to happen. So exciting time for us. So now, what in the world? This week's What in the World is brought to you by Sacred Heart University ice hockey. Have to advertise them. What a week for the Pioneers. For those of you who don't know me too well, ice hockey is a very big part of my life and my family's life, and we're season ticket holders for Sacred Heart University. I live about 8 minutes from this amazing hockey arena that they built not too long ago. For the Sacred Heart men, last weekend they hosted Air Force in the first round of their conference playoffs. Now, this is my third year as a Sacred Heart season ticket holder, and I have not missed many home games and even get with my son to a lot of away games. We had never seen a playoff win before. Now, it's not that they haven't had playoff home games. They were always a high seed and got swept in the first round the last 2 years. And really in bad fashion, too, just did not play well in either playoff series, both to Niagara University. This weekend, they hosted Air Force. They won Friday night. They looked really good in that win. But then they turned around Saturday. It's a 3-game best-of-3 series and looked really bad, and they lost. And they lost in double overtime, but as the game moved on, the foot went off the gas. And but Sunday they won. And so not only do we get to see them win a playoff game, we got to see them win a playoff series for the first time. And this weekend they host Bentley in the AHA semifinals at home. So I'll get to be there myself. Real excited for that. Let's go Pios. Now on the women's side, they defeated LIU last Saturday night to win the NUHA championship for the second time. But for the first time, they're in the NCAA tournament, which is happening right now as I film this. The first round of the NCAA tournament, they're playing Minnesota Duluth. The last I checked, they're down 1-0, but battling. And just it's a real exciting time for Sacred Heart University hockey. So welcome aboard as a sponsor, SHU Hockey. Go Pios. Hoping for another series win this weekend and get them in that championship game next weekend. And so what in the world? We're going to keep it local. What in the world for New York sports? It's just utter craziness right now if you're a New York sports fan like me. On one hand, St. John's men's basketball. I have avoided long discussions about their season this year because I don't want to jinx it. And they've been great. They're one of the best teams in the country. Rick Pitino has certainly done something really special there really quickly, as he usually does. And, is it too early to dream, St. John's fans? St. John's, for me, I'm not going to quite age myself here, but I'm old enough to remember Chris Mullin and as a player and him taking what were at the time the Redmen to the Final Four with Lou Carnesecca, who recently passed away as their coach. I've always been a fan. I grew up right near St. John's University in Queens, New York, and I just haven't had much to cheer about for a very long time. And here they are making some waves, and it's a down year for some good teams. UConn isn't the UConn that we're used to, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really exciting right now for St. John's. And, I can't say that, hey, they're a favorite to win it all, but we can dream, right? And, today, Duke University in their playoff game, Cooper Flagg, arguably the best player in the country, went down with an ankle injury. Who knows, what his prognosis is for the NCAA tournament and what that does for Duke. And so since there isn't really that singular team that everyone's looking at as a favorite, St. John's fans, if you're out there, we can dream a little bit, right? And it's exciting. So that's the positive for New York sports. And then there's the flip side. There's just the insanity happening elsewhere. I'm not a New York Yankees fan. I'll never be a New York Yankees fan. I'm a Mets guy. But Garrett Cole going down for Tommy John surgery, that's a big deal. Like, you can never feel good. I've never been the type, and as anyone who knows me knows, I'm an overgrown child with my favorite sports teams, all right? My New York Rangers, New York Mets, New York Giants, New York Knicks, and St. John's. I root for my team, and I hate the opponents. Like, it's just how I am. I've been that way since I was a young child, and I'll always be that way as an old child. And so I'm not a Yankees fan, but I've never been the type to feel good about another team's star getting injured. And Garrett Cole is a great story. Grew up a huge Yankees fan, then became a Yankee. And the one thing that he's not done is taken them all the way. Like they went to the World Series last year. They didn't win it. And you just got to feel for a guy like that, right? One of the best players at his position in the sport, one of the biggest names pitcher, one of the biggest name pitchers in baseball. And he's done for more than a year now. And that's a rough go. And as a New Yorker, you can't feel good about that. You have to feel for them. And then there's the New York Football Giants, of whom I am a fan at the moment. I ripped on Daniel Jones on this show many times. And, the Giants getting rid of Saquon Barkley, but keeping Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley won a Super Bowl MVP caliber season, all that fun stuff for Saquon. I'm as disgruntled as you get. That was until this point. So Giants need a quarterback. The only quarterback currently signed on the roster is Tommy DeVito, who love the guy. Tommy, you're my boy. If you're watching, I know you are. But he's not going to lead him anywhere, and this is not a good draft class. They've talked about Shedeur Sanders and no, there's no one out there who thinks a top 3 pick should be used on Shedeur Sanders. So they're going down the veteran route, trying to get themselves a free agent quarterback. And the names, oh my goodness, Aaron Rodgers, they're waiting to hear from him. You share a stadium with the Jets, and you saw what Aaron Rodgers did for the Jets. Why are you now saying to yourself, oh, we need that? That's our guy. He's not your guy. Don't get him. All right. And then Russell Wilson, who was, like Aaron Rodgers not too long ago, was a dominant NFL quarterback. As we saw in Pittsburgh last year, he's not anymore. It's just how it is. And then today we read Joe Flacco. I did not realize that Joe Flacco was still playing football. I think as a rule of thumb for the Giants, if a quarterback is my age or older, okay, don't go after him. The name I'm intrigued by for the Giants is Jameis Winston, just because when he is good, he's great and he's still younger. But man, if it's come down to Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco and Russell Wilson, what it really means is the upcoming season, which is still 6 months away, is going to be really, really bad. Just awful. And on one hand, I've seen the Giants win 4 Super Bowls. On the other hand, this is a franchise that once used a first-round draft pick on Ron Dayne, right, Tim? And, what a waste that was. So, I guess you can only expect the unexpected from the Giants, but their quarterback pursuit for next year makes me think that I'm going to have a rough fall coming up. I may have to pay a little closer attention to college football than usual this time around. Let's hope I'm wrong. That's it for the latest spin this week. Always a pleasure. Hope you enjoyed yourselves as well. As always, how do I get involved? How do I travel with Student Athlete World USA? How do I have the coolest experience in my sports and travel life? It's a real simple answer. Go to studentathleteworld.com, complete your application, interview with me, and pack your bags. And do it soon, people. We're running out of roster spots. Don't want to see you get shut out. See everyone next week. Have a great week, everyone.